Has the con man finally been conned himself? The Gateway Pundit is now reporting that the god-awful portrait painted by the rabid racist artist, Kehin, which former President Barack Hussein Obama hand chose to do his official presidential portrait, is also a scam artist. After yesterday's official unveiling, art specialists took time to study the painting and found something very interesting. As you can see above, the pattern repeats. This is a common technique used by Chinese labor painters who mass-produce artwork at neck-break speeds. They repeat a pattern over and over again in order to create a scene and save time. This fills up space so the artist can save time and go on to the next painting. The scam doesn't stop here though. The artist conveniently has a studio in Beijing, China, where he has been known to employ as many as 10 local artists and a studio director depending on how high the demand for his art becomes. Wow. Via NY Mag, there's nothing new about artists using assistants. Everyone from Michelangelo to Jeff Koons has employed teams of helpers, with varying degrees of irony and pride, but Wiley gets uncomfortable discussing the subject. I'm sensitive to it, he says. When I first arrived at his Beijing studio, the assistants had left, and he made me delete the iPhone snapshots he'd taken of the empty space. I don't want you to know every aspect of where my hand starts and ends. Producing work in China cuts costs, but not as much as it used to, Wiley says. These days in Beijing he employs anywhere from 4 to 10 workers, depending on the urgency, plus a studio manager, the American artist Hancock. Let's be honest with ourselves. Did anyone ever believe anything to come out of Barack Hussein Obama would be a scam? It's only logical that an empty suit would also choose a fellow empty suit to paint his portrait. Kehin is not only a con artist but also a bitter racist, just like Barack Obama has been his whole life. Wiley is a gay black artist, so he gets away with it. Obama is a black president, so he got away with it. One conned a former president, the other conned an entire nation. But neither was questioned because it would be racist to do so. We know the drill well and we know how it goes. Let's hope the American people finally woke up to the scam that was Barack Obama and everything that surrounded him, so something like this will never happen again. Via Freedom Daily, former President Barack Obama and his old lady Michelle Obama just had the portraits debut to the world and the results were hilarious. As with most presidents of the United States, they get professional portraits done and they're supposed to represent the professionalism and great American standard. Barack and Michelle went another route, and the portraits came out a bit different. The paintings look like they were paid for with an EBT card and don't look presidential one bit. Barack Obama sits on a wooden chair surrounded by flowers. He must have sat there for 8 years and watched the plants grow around him. Michelle Obama sits on a chair floating in a realm of blank emptiness, which amounts to the level of contributions SAGS made to the country. Ruining a school lunch program does not count as a contribution. People on social media had a lot to say about the awkward paintings. People pointed out how odd they were and how they barely resembled the former White House residence. We gaze at Barack Obama surrounded by flowers and imagine the scene where Homer Simpson fades into a bush, only to hope that Obama one day fades into a bush as well, but doesn't resurface unless AGS on a deserted island. Michelle Obama's portrait looks like another woman. It doesn't resemble her in the least. Perhaps the painter felt bad and tried to make her look better. It looks like an Aunt Jemima was painted in the 1700s and does not look anything like what the First Lady should look like in a professional painting. The portraits were so terrible that people kept asking who painted this, and a quick Google search provided an immediate answer. Kehin painted the pictures. Next people wondered who that was and if it was a male or female. Another quick Google search, and we find out that Kehin is an African-American male. It looks like Kehin has a lot of other portraits that are beautiful. He does some fantastic work. But that's when we notice something that stuck out like a sore hitchhiker thumb. This is something that would make me not particularly fond of hiring him if I was a former president. This is turning out to be an absolute public relations nightmare for the Obama family. We found that Kehin has painted a portrait of a black person holding decapitated white person head. That seems very racist and morbid. This is not someone I would hire if I was a former president. It looks as though the Obama family just found out the hard way. Either that or they just don't care. For the web powered by Zergnet, this figure skating move was too provocative for the Olympics. Olympic figure skater handles wardrobe malfunction perfectly. The real reason you don't hear about Leanne Rimes anymore: snowboarder breaks his neck in terrifying crash at Olympics. Here's who Jackie Kennedy thought had her husband killed. The victims of the Florida school shooting revealed.